It's Dizzy. I'm out at the farm with one very unhappy fat pony. As you can see, I've got a grazing muzzle on her. Last week after my fire, I noticed that she was down. Of course, the first thought is always colic. Gave her some Banamine and got her up on her feet, walked her around, and was hearing gut sounds. So then I got some hay pellets, and she was all about the hay pellets. So it definitely wasn't colic. My next thought was, well, let me check out her hooves. Her hooves were packed with dirt, manure, and stones, and some of those stones were pretty sharp. So my thought was, well, she's got some stone bruising. I'm going to pick out her hooves. I'll keep them picked out. I gave her some butte and left, and she was fine. The next morning I got out, she was fine. But she's been getting worse and worse, basically. On Wednesday, I got the thought, well, maybe what she's doing is actually trying to founder because she is fat. She needs to lose a good 200 pounds or so, maybe more, I don't know. And I've been wanting to get the grazing muzzle on her. But what I did for Wednesday was I just locked her in the stall with hay and water and left her there. Oh, she was very happy to get the hay. And I had the grazing muzzle, the problem being it's supposed to be on a breakaway halter. I don't have a breakaway halter. And you're supposed to, with this type of halter, you're supposed to be able to take this clip off so that you can replace them. I tried. I couldn't figure it out. Because what I was going to do, I was going to take the clip off, then I was going to use some yarn and tie the clip on so that I could still hook it on the ring. But since I couldn't figure out how to get the clip off, instead what I just did, I put a ring on here, and now I have that hooked to there. If it breaks, if she gets caught up on something, the yarn will break. I can break a single strand of yarn by myself, so I have no trouble whatsoever for her to break a double strand. And even if just one breaks, because it's not braided together or anything. Now, there are problems with having the grazing muzzle on her. One problem is she's not happy. She spent the majority of yesterday, which is when I got this on her, sulking in the run-in. Then she came out and she sulked out here before moving out into the field and sulked in there. But this morning, when she came up for feeding, she was definitely walking better. It's the first time she's come up on her own for a few days. I am, of course, going to be keeping her hooves picked out. Another problem is when I took the grazing muzzle off of her yesterday afternoon, all on her hooves, you could see blood spots. So she wasn't able to do anything about the flies. And I did put fly spray on her this morning, so I'm not seeing any flies. There's some on her face. I did put some on her around her eyes and on her ears. It's not as easy to get it on the face because you got to watch that it doesn't run into their eyes, but it is what it is. Now, when you're using a grazing muzzle, the first thing you want to do is make sure you have the correct size. This is what's called cob size, and you can see it attaches in 4 places. I've got it attached here, here, in the front, and of course on the other side. There should be about an inch between the bottom of the muzzle and their mouth so that they can still graze. Don't know if you can see her mouth or not. I would say she's got about approximately an inch. And of course, if she puts her head down to graze, the basket will move up, and that does make it lower. Now, when you have the muzzle on them, you do not want it on them all day long. The recommendation is no more than 10 hours a day. She didn't have it on that long yesterday, just, I don't know, maybe 5 hours, because I was here all day. I had a work day here, and I wanted to see how she did with it. That way I could keep an eye on her. So she's got it on now. Now, as to what time of day you put it on her, you have to look at your grass. Plain and simple, the sugar content in grass is highest during the afternoon. It's lowest at night and early morning. However, when the sun is shining on the grass, that will bring the sugar content up. So, when she has the muzzle on, it's basically going to be after she eats in the morning. I put it on her in the morning. When I come in the late afternoon, early evening to collect the eggs and put the chickens away, it's coming off. This will not only help her, hopefully, with getting the not having the problems with her hooves, but because they're supposed to get like a 50% less intake of grass with this on, it'll help her hopefully lose the couple 100 pounds that she so desperately needs to lose. Now, as long as she is walking the way she is, until I'm pretty sure that she's doing better, I am not going to be working with her. I had wanted to start working with her soon because it is supposed to be getting cooler. I'm not. The farrier is coming out on the 25th, and I will ask him about her, see how she's doing, and definitely work with her by then. Now, for when I'm going to have the grazing muzzle on her time-wise, she will be wearing this every day except for when I'm away, until we get killing frost. The sugar level in the fall will rise. The lower temperatures help bring the sugar content up. And it's not even until the grass dies back that sugar content goes down. It's not as high in the summertime, but it's still high enough that, of course, with as fat as she is, she'll be wearing it during the summer. Even during drought, if there's grass out there, even if it looks brown, the sun beating down on it all day long can raise the sugar content. So there's the fat thing with our grazing muzzle on. And if you're thinking that you might need to use a grazing muzzle on one of your horses, I hope that gives you some information. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments, and I will talk at you later.